Welcome in, everyone. I'm in the office right now. I'm weighing out some silver here and some copper to make me some 93% silver wire. So I have an Excel chart here that shows what I need. I've got a mold chart that shows my ingot. So to use the 0.245 diameter ingot mold, takes 20 grams to fill it up, so I don't want to run it all the way up to the top. So I've got here my sterling from scratch chart. This chart goes if I'm melting down 90% coins on how much silver to add to get to the 93%, 80% coins, 40% gold. But this is where I'm starting here, silver from scratch or sterling from scratch. So to have 18 grams, I have to have 16.74 grams of silver and 1.267 grams of copper to get me to 92.96% silver. So that's what we're doing here. I'm using silver that I get from, I'm using Scottsdale Mint. I usually buy it in the 5-ounce jars. And then these I had them weighed out. I had them weighed out into 5-gram vials that I had for sale at one point on my website, but since I started using it to make wire, I just use it. I took it down from being listed. So we take it, we zero our scale out here, and we just start adding our silver to our bowl. We're looking for 16.74 grams of the pure silver. Take my tweezers and 16.78. Come in here and find some of the smaller pieces and take out. Try to get to my 16.74. Close, I mean. That's 16.748, so that's pretty close. I'll put it in a bag. Put that back on there. Now I gotta have .267 grams of copper. So I've got some 14 gauge, or this 16 gauge copper wire bought from Rio Grande. I just cut pieces here. I cut them into shorter pieces because they fit in my crucible better and I don't have to wrap them up or anything. That's 1.349. To get to my length to get to the weight I need, then I'll just take one and cut it up into smaller pieces. It's 245. 275. Let's take one of these out. It's 1.243. Can get a smaller piece there. .262. Really close. Let's see if I can drop one little small piece. That's too much. There's 1.268. I'll drop it in my bag there. Zero my scale with a bag. Weigh what I've got in this bag. Should be, it's 18.014. So once I get it melted down into, and then get poured in my mold, I'll weigh it, just see how much weight I lost. I just do that just to track it. I've done another one here. Already melted weighed out another one here. So I'm gonna weigh some of this out, and then I'll turn you back on when I get to the garage to start melting it down. We're out here in the shop now. I ended up with 4 bags, 18 grams a piece of my pure silver and copper mix, where I'm gonna melt that down. I've got 2 bags here of scrap. They ended up to be about 19.5 grams a piece, so I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna pour it in this mold, this hole right here. I've already heated that up, so it's kind of warm, so I like putting it over here in this other little crucible and moving it over like this. Keeps it from the heat of the crucible that's already in there melted in my bag. I've had that happen before, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up, melt the silver, and then when it gets melted, I'm going to stir it around. I'm going to add some borax to it, which I just dumped all that borax out. Put that over there. I'm going to heat this up, melt it down, get it molten. I'll stir it around with this. I'll drop some borax in it here to get rid of the impurities. Then when I get ready to pour, you'll see me pull my MAP gas torch out, and I'll go ahead and start heating up my ingot here. I use this Metalon non-stick ingot spray on it, so it keeps it from sticking. So let's go ahead and get it fired up and get it going. This thinner wire will melt really fast. And that's fairly thin sheet that I had rolled out. It's going to take a lot to get this melted. This is my scrap pieces that I had. while to get that heat in it though. You can see it's starting to get molten now and flowing. If you had a torch that burned it hotter than this, it would probably speed the process up, but you just have to be patient with this torch. It gets it hot enough to melt and pour, so graphite rod, I'll go ahead and throw it around here a little bit. Borax in there. That borax helps it get rid of the impurities that are in the metal. Go ahead and take my matte gas torch. Start heating up my ingot here. I preheated it earlier, so it's got some heat in it, but I don't like to pour it in it if it's cold. It doesn't want to pour all the way down to the bottom. Stir it up a little bit more here. I keep the heat on it for a while, even when I get ready to pour it. And I just ease up his edge so I can heat that edge in my crucible too. It is hot. When I get ready to pour it in, I just pour it in. A little bit too much. It came out the top. We'll see how it did in the bottom. It may have not been cool enough or hot enough in the bottom. This was 19.5 grams, so I had enough to split it into two, but 19.5 grams. So. take my copper tweezers here and just open it up. Yeah, pour it all the way to the bottom. So I may reduce some of that in my next. Well, I mean, I can go ahead and just cut the end off and have that as scrap. And drop it in my pickle. Go and get it buttoned back up and we'll melt the next one. This is mainly a bunch of little wire, so it should melt really quick. Okay, I'm back here. I got this crucible loaded, ready to start heating this metal up. I gotta put some little spray in my ingot. I think I'm gonna pour this. Since this one was 19 and a half, I think I'm gonna pour it in a bigger hole. Just scrap pieces of wire that I made jewelry and have those ends left. I don't worry too much about making it too long, the wire too long, because I do melt it back down and turn it back into wire. So. I mainly use this hole, the 254.254 diameter one, because it rolls easier in my roll over here. But the larger one, I can get it to. It just takes extra steps to roll it out. I usually only use the larger hole for like stock when I'm making for rings and. I need that bigger diameter to start with, because I make the half round rings and everything, the flat rings. I'll make a video and upload it and show the rings I make and the coin rings I make and all of it. I plan on making a video of me actually making a coin ring for you guys to watch. I'm just moving around to get some of this that's stuck to the side to roll down into the bottom. Once it starts flowing, it all flows together anyway. and heat my ingot up here. When to pour it, I just pour it in. It's that simple. There it is. Drop it in my pickle. I'm gonna go ahead and load this. Load some of this pure silver and copper wire that I'm alloying up. Melt it. Get it poured up. I'm gonna try it in this hole because it's only 18 grams. I do that because sometimes it doesn't seed at the bottom and it leaves a thin little piece where it shoots out the bottom when it pours in there. So. Some little bitty pieces in there, so I'll make sure I get all the little pieces out. One of them jump out there. This, since I'm blending it, when I get it fluid, I will stir this really good. And put some borax in it. I'm gonna drop some borax in it. That's it. I'm at the top just a little. I was thinking that one would hold 20 grams, but apparently it doesn't. I'll have to check my math. I usually don't make batches this big, but I've got so much wire to make that I went ahead and was going to go ahead and melt and make some big, longer ingots and get me some longer strips. So, let me throw in my pickle. I'm going to go ahead and get these other 3 bags melted and poured, and I'll come back and show you what I got when I'm done. We've got them all poured here. Just gonna weigh them out and just check it, see what we think. These two right here are the scrap pieces I had, of the melted scrap. These four are the ones that were the pure silver mixed with the copper wire. So these were about 19.5 grams to start. 19.5. 19.5, so these were averaging around 18.0. This scale right here is not my real precise scale like I have in the house, so grams. That's what we had. I will make a video when I get ready to start rolling them out and making the wire. I'll go ahead and take and saw these off about right here and melt the ends back down. Do a little bit more math on exactly what that part of my ingot, how much I need to have where it doesn't run over past, say, maybe that level right there. So, or when I cut one of these off, I'll just weigh it, mark that, saying that that's about as much as I want to try to put in there. I could possibly hammer that down round, but the way I do things here, I mean, I can melt it down and pour it back pretty quick. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Check for the video of me actually rolling it out and pulling the wire. Thanks for watching.